Hello again, everybody. Welcome to this master plan meeting. I thank you for your time and for being here today. This is such an exciting milestone for us at Christ Church. You might recall that we began a master plan process in 2019, in December, and really trying to look at the question of what it was going to cost to maintain this place in a good, faithful way and not do a lot of deferred maintenance and that sort of thing. And while we were looking into that question, we thought, why don't we also, in addition to mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, why don't we also think about our mission and ministry and how do our spaces help or hinder those things to which we feel called as a community in downtown Little Rock. So this is years in the making. We did have a little interruption with COVID, but I'm sort of grateful in a way that the process took as long as it did, because I feel like we have left no stone unturned. We really have had the opportunity to look at everything, and we've had lots of feedback from the congregation. And so what you'll see today is the culmination of work on behalf of lots of groups of people here at the church, including what the congregation named as hopes and dreams and concerns and all those good things. And so to get us started, I would like to invite Debbie and Rashtika to come forward and lead us in prayer. And this is a prayer that we will be using along the way in the next several months as we think about fundraising.
Thank you, Kate. As part of the effort, we have a number of committees that have formed. One that Hannah is leading is a spiritual committee to guide us in the spiritual aspects of what we're doing. And this is the prayer that her group came up with. O God, creator of every good and holy thing, you have revealed your glory in the life of Christ Church. Come among us who now work to preserve and enrich this beacon of beauty, safety, and love. Unite and guide us in our efforts, that we might show forth the light of Christ to our community for years to come. Through the love of our Lord Jesus Christ, who with you and Holy Spirit lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen. Now let me call on my co-chair to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. When Rush first asked me to be coach, he said, Kate had called him and asked if we would be co-chairs for the capital campaign. And I said, well, you know, of course, we always say yes when the church asks us to do something. Who are our co-chairs? And he said, me, I'm the co-chair. So somehow I thought there would be more of us. But anyway, we're delighted to be able to do this. And as Kate said, this has been kind of a long process in the making. Somehow I feel like we've been Israelites, you know, in the wilderness. It hasn't been 40 years, it's been 4 years, but my goodness, we're getting ready to see the promised land. It is just a beautiful rendering of what we have to come. And Rush and I are very excited about this, not just for what it does for all of us here in this room, but many of us, most of us have children or grandchildren that are going to benefit from this for generations to come. You know, we had wonderful people generations before that have enabled us to be in this gorgeous building and facility that we're in, and hopefully that heritage will continue on down the line. So I hope y'all think it's as wonderful as we do. And okay, back to Kate.
All right, so I'll give you a quick rundown of where we're headed in this meeting. I'm about to turn it over to our amazing design team, and they'll walk us through the master plan. I want to be clear that what we're doing today is celebrating the completion of the master plan process. I will say a word about fundraising down the road, but that's a future step. Today we are revealing the finished product of the work that we've been doing. So I'm going to hand it over to them, and then I will talk a little bit about the budget and how we might achieve this together, what kind of timeline to look at, and that sort of thing. You'll have a chance to ask any questions that you want to ask. We had a robust Q&A session on Tuesday night, and I would assume we'll do that again today. So I'll introduce our design team. We have Herron Horton Architects, Jeff and Jennifer, and Martin Smith with Environmental Design Group. And I'm excited to hand it over to you all.
Kate, can you hear me? Welcome. Thank you for coming. We just want to, Martin, Jeff, and I want to thank you all the parishioners, the building committee, and the master plan committee for all your great feedback, your questions and concern, and for the feasibility study, because it gave us such good information to where we are today. So thank you all for that. Appreciate it. And I'll let Jeff start with the how we're going to take you through the
Jennifer
building
and I
today.
will tag team this.
Yeah, we're going to tag.
Can you hear me? Okay. So we are starting with this slide here that y'all can, I'm sure, recognize. This is the building as it is, as it stands today. I kind of want you to notice this building right here in the front. That's kind of going to be a big piece of how we move forward in this master plan. The next slide will be the floor plan as we're proposing it in the future through all of our work with you all throughout this process. The orientation of the plan that I'm going to show you next follows the same orientation. So the church will be on the left and the parish house will be on the right. So,
Just to clarify, we are not doing anything to this wonderful church building. We're going to focus on the connection to it in the parish hall.
So the main move, or one of the largest moves that we came up with through this process, was to remove the building in the front. And so, as you can see, by doing this, I'm sure everyone's wondering, okay, if we remove this building, we're going to expose the facade of this parish house, beautify the campus. But a big question will be, what happens to all the functions that are in this space? How will we proceed without that space? So we're going to walk you through how these spaces, these functions, get reabsorbed into the rest of the church. With the addition of two, we're going to add 2 additions, but for the most part, we're going to leave the front plaza open space, with greenery and trees. And Martin will talk about that in a minute. Jennifer and I will kind of walk you through how the space will work without that addition.
The administration area, so all the offices, it's amazing. You see it's long and linear and it's right up against the street. Well, it's about 11,000 or 1,100 square feet, but this is the same square footage. Actually, this space is where we're going to put the administration offices, which is the existing parish hall. It's the first floor. You walk by it today. It's
Nursery.
The nursery and some of the break room, and so we're gonna we have like 6 offices, a gathering space, a reception area, copy storage, file storage, safe, break room, all of that can fit into this space here, which is predominantly the nursery space that you see right now. It goes all the way back to the existing wall of Park Hall. So we're gonna reconfigure the whole nursery. We're gonna come in with new finishes, take down the existing walls. The mechanical system is really in good shape. And we're just gonna re-pipe some ductwork, but it's the same or a little bit more square footage than what we have now.
We're going to go back with a new addition in the front, which is this L shape that you kind of see with the light blue and this purple color. You will still enter from the parking lot from an entry walk into some double doors that can access the circulation to get to the sanctuary. We are also adding a new entrance plaza off of Scott Street. So where the old building used to be, there will be a nice new plaza that will welcome people directly into this new addition, which is roughly the location of the doors or the entrance into the existing parish house.
You know where it slopes down and comes back up? That's right here. So we're gonna take that slope out. It's gonna be ADA accessible, but it'll be more level. And when we do that, in order for us to do that, we have to relocate that stair because that stair landing cuts off part of that opening. So we're going to relocate that stair over here where the acolytes are located. We're going to move the acolytes over there, and we're only going to move the stair on the first floor. Okay, we're going to keep the second floor stair, the third floor stair where it's currently located. So it's a move that will open up this whole entryway, and you'll be able to see to the street as well as flow more, and it'll raise it up. It'll feel a lot larger.
Parlor will be relocated into the space that's now used for a coffee hour.
Yes. It's where the art gathering green groceries is here. And so this is going to be an enclosed space with double doors and a view out to the courtyard. And that's the parlor. Because we heard from a lot of people that we're missing this crucial meeting space, more intimate space, and where could it be located? So we decided the proximity to the sanctuary as well as access to the exteriors of the parlor location.
Another question that came up with the removal of this building is where do we have the art functions, and where can we have gathering spaces just for the congregation and the public? So we're proposing to renovate Park Hall and add an addition to the south, right, the parking lot side. This new addition will be open and airy, and it will allow you to use the plaza and the parking lot with some revisions to help it feel much more newer special space. Martin can kind of talk about that when we talk about the landscaping, but the concept or idea is that with Park Hall opening up to the south and the parking lot, you will have another additional space that can be used for public events, gathering events, art night, different functions like that.
Park Hall has that lower ceiling in some areas, and so we're going to look at if we can work with that in a way, because there is some structure that supports the gym upstairs. So we're going to do all new finishes, and we're going to have doors that access out to this space here, to this plaza, and then we still keep the two doors to the existing corridor.
Another concern is with the furniture, like chairs and tables, they can be used in the space. We've also added an additional chair and storage room just for Park Hall on this level, so that tables and chairs can remain on this level, and additional tables and chairs can be on the second floor for the Great Hall.
So there's storage on every floor. Regarding this ties into the elevator. We looked at so many different ways to rework this elevator, the size, and it's very difficult because of its location. So we looked at locating it in other areas, but this makes a lot of sense to keep it here. So we're going to modernize it. We're going to put all new finishes in it, and we're hoping that you do not have to put tables and chairs on that elevator and go up and down, we're going to provide enough storage on each floor to accommodate the infrastructure and the tables.
Another exciting thing is that we'll have brand new restrooms for those churches.
And more toilets, more sinks.
There's a women's restroom on one side and men's on the other. They're just off of this main circulation space. And with that, we've added a family or a unisex restroom. So those will be greatly improved in this new.
All new finishes, all new everything, new lighting, venting, just make it look so much better.
This classroom space that's currently divided into two will be used as one space. We'll take the wall out and then we'll make it much more flexible for children's events.
I want to go back to the elevator because one thing that we checked at the elevator is the ADA accessibility, and it meets the current guidelines. So we're not limiting in that aspect at all. And then the bishop's room will remain as the bishop's room. I get some new paint, some little bit of new finishes. It's a lovely room. Looks out to the courtyard. We're going to keep those wood doors, French doors there. And then the kitchen, we met with several people regarding the kitchen and how it functions right now and what equipment do they need. And they said it really functions well, although it could be, the centerpiece functions well. It could be reorganized as for storage and dishes that aren't used. And they do need some new equipment. So we have a lot of notes in the master plan on that meeting. So if you would review that, all the notes that we've had over the years are included in that master plan booklet that will be coming out soon. So it was really good to hear that it functions well for them. Although the dishwasher, we'll get a new dishwasher, and there are certain things, but the floor is good. They said we're going to redo the finishes on the interior, and then have a better dock, floating dock or entry on the south. So that is the first floor. When we're looking at the feasibility study and the cost, we mainly focused on the first floor. The second and third floor, there are mechanical issues, like a new cooling tower, so we're including that in this phase as well. And then we'll incrementally go through the mechanical as needed.
Right. So let me talk about the experience of the site outside. And I want to back up just a minute on the overall original big picture master plan. We looked at the entire perimeter and the entire campus. So, and today we're really just looking, we took a feasibility study and looked at what would be what we call phase one. And so we were focusing on two different entry aspects. So I want to make sure that that's clear. And those two entry aspects are that existing retrofit off Scott Street and then at Park Hall. And the key here is placemaking. Let's not worry about landscape so much, but it's about space. It's about the experience of arrival. It's about celebrating the historical architecture and creating a place that's transparent and inclusive to the outside world. So think of it in that realm. The first one we'll look at, I think I can't remember what the slides are. Well, we'll look at these together. So, and then we've turned obviously Scott Street. There's the chapel where we are, the existing courtyard. If you look at your historical renderings of the church, it was very ornate garden walls and green space outside. So we wanted to bring that aspect back, but not be ornate. I mean, when the times have changed, simplicity is very important, and not overpower. Let the architecture, present itself. And let's create a usable, functional space that can be programmed for outdoor activities, potentially. So we still have the entryway that comes in, but you also can spill in, and if you have events here, you can spill out, and this could all be usable space. And then Park Hall, and also this is elevated, so it's basically at grade here, and that little stone wall. We'll take the stone off of the existing structure and utilize it, and it's probably, it's the same height there as at the top of the steps. So it gives you a little bit of separation from the street level, and provides that space. Same thing with the this area here, and we expanded it to go into the parking lot, not losing any parking spaces. We would change the material in the parking lot and get some trees in there and just some lights, hanging lights over it so that it could be, we call those like, I guess kind of the term we use is a festival street or a festival plaza, where it still functions and can park on a day-to-day aspects, but you could also utilize it for a pedestrian, set up chairs, tables, and utilize it as an outdoor gathering space. And that's the idea, so that it is inclusive going in and out. So these are the two areas that we're focusing on, and here in the rendering, you can see how we're not trying to overpower. I mean, I think it's a beautiful elevation of the church, and we just want to create that very welcoming front door to the addition, or the improvements, I should say.
So in the center here, you can see the addition that we're proposing. This colonnade or the arch window, the Gothic arch windows, and the stonework, this is new, and it's made to blend in with the sanctuary building, the church building. And there's a glass pavilion entrance here that is more open as a transition piece to get you from the church to the parish house.
You can see that stone wall. This is part of that stone wall coming to grade, that we will reuse the stone from the existing 1985 building addition. And we've talked to some masons already, and they're all for it. So we're saving that material. That's important, environmentally, sustainability. And then just seeing this building open up to the street, it's amazing to us. We kept coming in and saying, yeah, it's like that, you know, and we'd walk back outside because you can't see it right now.
So this new addition will be low roof, flat roof to expose the parish house from the street.
We are going to go back with some windows, and I know, like, we've talked about the theater program during the summer, and we'll work with that in a programmatic way with these windows. Also, these are the windows that are in the stairwell right now. And one thing that was really important to us as church members was to have a discussion with the Arkansas Historic Preservation Program to see if the church now would be eligible for any grants or historic tax credits. And we realized that currently, as it is now, as the church is now, it would not be eligible for the National Register because it covers up a lot of this building. However, when you remove that 1985 building, nominate it then, because then you can get, you're eligible for grants and historic tax credits for phase 2. So, and we can, it's already painted brick, you know, say that. So the grants, in order to receive grants from the state, you need to be on the National Register. And so when we remove this structure, you're eligible to be on the National Register, which opens up for more funding for the next phase, not this phase. And because it's painted, we can paint it. There was some questions about, can we remove the paint? Well, it takes a lot to remove this paint, and it can hurt the brick substantially. But we've got, we can paint it a different color and protect that brick more over the years to come.
What is the composition of the new building?
This addition right here, it is steel and glass. And that was another discussion with the historic preservation. We said, are we doing anything on the exterior to jeopardize the future for any funding? I said, no, these are very beautiful, simple attachments that are transparent. So that was critical to hear that. And also when we moved the interior stair on that first floor, so that we could have this higher, more welcoming entry, they said that is a minor move, that's not going to jeopardize it, and we have documentation.
Is the portico of is that still the same width as the one we got?
Good question. Do you know the width of this?
So this is
one car going to be able to go through there right now.
Oh, gotcha.
right. What we are proposing.
Picking someone up and other people wanna go through, they have to wait till those are picked up.
The way it's designed right now, and this all can change because this is just what we're proposing at the moment, is that it would be a canopy that would come out to the edge of the parking. And you would pull up next to it and drop a passenger off from the passenger side, and they would walk undercover directly into Park Hall. But it's not designed, at the current time, it's not designed to go over the parking lot. It just goes next to or up to the parking lot. So the drive.
Okay. And another question I have, when you're moving the parish, parlor
Yes.
into the gathering place that we have now.
What is
Like
the
that glass
question in
window.
what she's asking?
Repeat the question.
Oh, sure.
When you're moving the parlor to the, where we have a gathering now, and you have that glass window looking out on the courtyard, will that be removed, will that be covered? Because there's weddings and, people that change for weddings, and then where people go from there.
She was asking
For a funeral or whatever.
Sure, sorry to be interrupted. What she's asking, when we have the parlor and the location, is there still going to be glass to the courtyard? Can it be covered? Because it will be people who are changing it here for weddings or funerals, so it'll be more private. But yes, it can.
It's going to be covered?
It can be covered. Now, covered, can mean many different things.
Well, I didn't know if there will still be a glass there, and just curtains, or whatever, or if they're gonna put a wall
Oh, no. We're proposing a window with curtains.
there. Okay.
She's asking if there'll be a printed handout of the designs so you can go home and take a look at them. When you get to the capital campaign, everyone will have handouts. And until then, we have these boards that will remain at the church, and it's the same presentation that we have here today. You won't have the printed material until the capital campaign is kicked off, but there will be these boards that will be around the church for you to review. Yeah.
I have a question. Right now, there is that long hallway that goes by the Park Hall and all, of that beautiful tile. You know what I'm talking
Yes,
about?
yes.
Is that going to go away?
No, we plan on preserving that tile.
Thank you very much. That's a real concern of mine.
Sure. No, I don't see that tile going away. If anything, we want to look at that storage in that hallway to see if it's possible to enlarge that hallway some. And I don't know what happens underneath that space, but where the tile is, it will stay. Yes.
Nursery.
Here, the classroom.
So the nursery will move into this large classroom, and with the design of furniture and the way that we lay that room out, we'll subdivide it into areas where there can be little kids, toddlers, but then there will be a space for babies as well. And it will have the direct access to this restroom for kids.
Another question. In the parlor, currently, there is a bathroom access. Say if someone's getting ready for a wedding or whatever, is there gonna be an access to a bathroom in the parlor for that?
We're looking at the possibility of the bride's area in this bishop room, and then having access directly into the women's restroom.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I think we're pretty. Sure. Oh, did I miss one? There's one last one.
So this is, go ahead.
I think we had one at Park Hall showing how it comes out into the parking lot. So this is sort of that paved area that.
And keep in mind, if you are looking at the those renderings don't show this, so I don't want anybody to get confused. If you're that's something that we felt like when we were looking at the renderings, we felt like it's very important to go ahead and have that as phase one to extend that outdoor space.
We have handicap parking along the building, but there was a question if we could add more handicap parking. We certainly can. You know, it's by code we have so many, but it's really up to the church how much you want.
And so this covered entry would be at grade level, drive levels. The drive would run right in front of this canopy so that you could be dropped off there. And then it would be an accessible route either directly into Park Hall or down the sidewalk into the front entrance.
We see this as a festive space. I mean, we've talked about what different activities you already do outside, and that connection to Park Hall and the kitchen is pretty significant for many groups. So that's it.
A new entrance sign goes there off the drive, the parking lot. Get kind of
Okay, just adding a few things. I feel like this rendering is really significant because I think it shows the impact of what it is we're proposing. You might have questions about the second and third floor. That would be a later phase. You might recall that when we did a feasibility study, we said if we could do everything we wanted, it would be $8-point-something million. And that's more than we can do as a congregation right now. So we've brought it down to about 3.5 million. And that's everything that these folks have just talked about. That's not so much the second floor and the third floor or the undercroft. Those would be future phases of this project. Although behind the scenes, there are mechanical upgrades. Jennifer mentioned the cooling tower. That's a big expense, and that will help us be more comfortable in the parish house. It's long overdue that we replace that thing, so please keep it in your prayers through the rest of this summer. And there are a few other things we're doing behind the scenes. These are not sexy items, but they're very important. We're working on the control system for the heat and air for the church. We're working on some fire detection in the church. We're working on security, those kinds of things. And so that's all included. The stuff we really need to do right now is included in that price tag. So it's important to say that we're doing some of those very essential items as well.
I know it's not really part of this plan, but the purchase of the other building on the block, is that still somewhere in the future mix? Because that would be a big expense, I'm sure.
I'm glad you asked. So Linda's asking about the Central Arkansas Water property next door. What I understand is that they are staying. They've decided not to sell, they're going to renovate. Which is kind of great because we're good neighbors. I'm happy to share a block going forward. We did lots of great discernment about if they were to sell, what would we do? And I'm grateful that we went down that road. But for now, we're just going to stick to our half a block and make it beautiful.
I noticed at the last board meeting with Central Arkansas Water, they actually hired architects and engineers for the renovation of that space. So they made the definitive decision to stay there and fix it up, which we love them fixing it up because they're our next door neighbor. We would have had some challenges trying to acquire it and do something with it from a cost standpoint. So it's good that somebody else is spending money on it.
Well, maybe they'll fix it up so that sometime in the future we can buy it.
We developed a relationship in this process, and we were finalists in the plans for who they were going to sell it to.
And by finalists,
We were finalists.
And by finalist, I think we were the only people interested. Yeah, Judy?
Has there ever been discussion about possibly buying property
street, it's not
We have looked at those. Well, they're very surprisingly expensive. So at this time, that's not part of the plan. Yes, Floyd?
What about the second floor windows? Which phase are they in?
That's a good question. What about the windows?
Right here, they need to be in this phase. We're gonna take a look at that, when we really dig down into the next piece of development, how we can treat them, make them better, or, what does it need to take? We've noticed, we've done a full inventory of the church, of the parish hall building, windows and finishes and what conditions they are, as well as our mechanical and electrical engineers have also done the same. So we've noted there are several areas that need some adjustment. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yes, Patricia?
What kind of roof is on top of the outdoor looking space? No, not there, but in the front there, where the trees are going to be inside. It's going to have glass roofs or?
No, that roof will be a flat roof similar to what's on the parish, parts of the parish house.
You think the trees will be happy there? Mr. Environmentalist?
Should be, and don't take the trees too literal. We'll, as we move forward, we want to make sure that the space outside is functional for shade and that it's usable. So we'll get into identifying what actual tree species we use or do best there. Yes, sir.
Well, speaking of the roof over the parish house, knowing the importance of protecting the envelope of the building, is there anything discussed on improving that or making it new? I imagine that roof is, 1939? Have you looked at the roof?
Yes, we've looked at the roof and we'll definitely be good stewards there to make sure that
That's
it's.
part of the extracurricular that Kate was talking about.
But that roof access will be in this phase.
Ma'am?
The roof access will be in this phase. Because you know how to get up to that roof. It's not safe at all.
No, in the parish house.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on through the bell tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not nice on the Middleton people. They have to go up. Anyway, we're thinking about moving some more mechanical equipment up to that roof, and so we do need to improve the access to the roof for service calls and such. We really have looked at every inch of these buildings and we've done some predictions about various lifespans of equipment, of roofing, of all those things. And so we have a pretty good idea, I would say, of what the next 5 to 10 years of upkeep will require. We've lucked out in a few places. For example, the roof on this building is about 80 years old. Is that the right math? And so theoretically it would be kind of near the end of its functionality. But we got lucky because the pitch is very steep, and that means we'll have several more years with this roof. But it means we need to be planning for when the time comes and we need to redo it. And so the Buildings and Grounds Committee in particular is working on this kind of long-term costs and how to plan for it. Porter Brownlee, who is our client representative, has been encouraging us to create what he calls a sinking fund. Sounds a little ominous, but it's a fund that, we know how much money we should set aside every year in order to do those capital expenses. And so a delightful question came up on Tuesday night. What happens if we overshoot our fundraising goal? That's my favorite question. And so I think we would look at 3 things. That sinking fund, I think we would look at future phases, the 2nd and the 3rd floor and the undercroft renovations. And we might think about the endowment as well, because we'd love to be able to do some of these capital improvements through interest earned on the endowment. So if we overshoot our fundraising goal, there are so many good things we could do with that. But I'm just going to plant that seed just in case. Let me say a word too about the Undercroft. Who's been to an Undercroft concert here? Several folks. You may know that sometimes it's overflowing. It's a beautiful, funky, intimate space for intimate concerts, and we're at capacity. And so we've looked at ways that we could expand that venue space, but still keep that cool basement vibe. And the restroom down there is really atrocious. And as we think about hospitality, like I feel like that's an important venue for us in the arts program here at Christ Church. And so I would hope be in the next phase. Are other questions about any of these details? Yeah.
This is a small technicality, but I was just curious. You mentioned the change to the loading dock?
Change of the loading dock?
What was the question?
What is the change going to be to the loading dock? Which is right back here.
It'll still function the same way.
We were just hoping to have, we were proposing to have a better door.
Larger size door.
And where they could open up and have better, easier access for trucks that are delivering news or things like that.
Okay, can you put that on our website, please? So we can look at it this week.
Yes, we'll put the master plan page back up now that we have the new images with some narrative explanation.
Thank you all. We really appreciate you being here today, and thanks for all your help during this process.
I want to thank these guys. They've just been a joy to work with. We are in such good hands. Also, I want to thank the Buildings and Grounds Committee. Oh my gosh, the countless hours they have spent looking at this place and caring for it. The Finance Committee and the Vestry have been hard at work at this. We had an original master plan steering committee because I didn't know what I was doing, and so I got a steering committee together, and that's kind of evolved and morphed over the last 4 years. I'm thankful to all those folks. And we have a capital campaign steering committee that is already hard at work to figure out how we can make this happen together and have a good time doing it. And so you'll hear more about the capital campaign, the fundraising effort for this project. The official kickoff is November 7th at the Rep, because our events our tri-chairs for the events committee have close connections to the Rep, let's just say that. And so we're going to find ways to have a good time. And let me say one other thing. If we did all of this work at one time, it would take 6 to 8 months. And so I'm inclined, we'll talk about it, we'll have some conversations about it with the leadership team and the congregation. And this would be in the early 2025. I'm inclined to just do it, to just get that work done at once as opposed to phasing it out, because it's disruption for a shorter amount of time. It's less expensive if you do it that way. And I also think we could have such an interesting time being intentional about how we gather, how and where we gather for everything other than worship. We will still have access to our worship space, which is such a great gift in a project like this. But maybe Sunday school is at the Rep or in people's homes, or I don't know. I think there are lots of ways we can be intentional about being Christ Church out in the city while we are doing these renovations. So stay tuned for all of that. We'll have a good time, I think. All right, thank you all for coming. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.